Who is this Charles Bassey guy? And what does he do?
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Well, another week has gone by and our Spurs went 1-2 versus the Nuggets. Tough overtime loss versus the Memphis Grizzlies, and then beat the Bucks last night. They're currently 6-7. Good for ninth place in the Western Conference, where we've actually been the last few years. Anyway, I'm going to get my version report card, a recap, drop a comment down below. What did you like about this week? What you didn't like? Hit that thumbs up if you like to support the Bell Spurs channel, and subscribe for more Spurs content. Let's just get into it. Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. Saw this last night during the game. The Spurs are first in the NBA assists per game, averaging over 29. The ugly on the flip side of that is they are almost dead last. They're 29th right now in the league, averaging over 17 turnovers a game. Those turnovers certainly not helping us win any games. But let's get into how the players did. Let's talk about the big man in the middle first, Jakob Turtle Power Pirtle. This was a good all-round week for Jakob Pirtle. Doing some scoring, grabbing boards, dishing out assists. He had 9 assists versus the Nuggets. Also playing some solid defense, getting some steals, getting some blocks, doing pretty much everything we need him to do for us to be competitive. Free throw shooting leaves a lot to be desired, as it has been his pretty much whole career. But overall, this was, I thought, a really good week for Jakob Pirtle. And he had some tough competition here and there. So good job, Jakob. Keep it up. Up next, our lottery pick that is starting and getting 30 minutes a game almost right now. I love that Pop is giving him playing time. This is a good week for Jeremy Sohan. What can I say? He is showing us the ability to defend pretty much any position on the opposing team 1 through 5. I think he's really going to be our most versatile defender if he isn't already. And we're seeing a lot of potential. He's our best lob threat in what feels like forever, where he can get down the court and take lobs, transition. Just I kind of said the same thing there, but you know what I mean. Just I like what I'm seeing. There's a lot to be excited about him. Yes, he's got some things to work on. His three-point shooting is very lackluster. That being said, though, I think he's got a lot of potential, and he barring something weird happening, should be our starting power forward over the next decade. So I know some fans weren't crazy about the pick the night of the draft, but he is looking like he's going to be something special someday. And how can you not love his hair? Up next, Keldon Johnson. Keldon, despite he had a pretty rough outing versus the Grizzlies, I thought this was a good week for Keldon, our leading scorer, averaging 25 points per game, showing us ability to get to the rim and shoot in the paint, but also one of the best three-point shooters on the team. My only knock against Keldon in this week really is 4.3 turnovers a game. I know he's our top scorer, but I mentioned turnovers already are hurting us, and yeah, that's a lot of turnovers. Plus, he did miss quite a few free throws in that game against the Grizzlies. Maybe one of those games, maybe that game doesn't go to overtime if he makes one more free throw. Overall, though, good week. My man, Devin Vassell, good week. Just continually showing us the ability to create his own shot. Generally playing solid defense. Devin Vassell, as you can see here, averaging 20.3 points per game. And I think the Spurs have a very solid 1-2 punch of guys who are going to average over 20 per game. So keep it up, Keldon and Devin. And last but not least, the man running the show, Tre Jones. Despite some defensive issues, maybe that's because of his size or whatever positioning, this is the type of week. If we can have this every week from Tre Jones, we're going to win some games. 13 points per game, almost 10 assists, plus 4 boards, and more importantly, shooting the ball very well. Almost 52% from the field and 43% from beyond the arc. I got to give this guy credit. I got to give Tre credit. Man, I didn't think his three-point shooting would take this much of a leap from last year to this year. He was abysmal last year, but this year, he's actually pretty good. And yeah, I'm proud of him. Is he our starting point guard for the future? I don't know. Is it Blake Wesley? I don't know. Is it somebody else? Right now, just if he produces like this, and the Spurs are going to win some games. We should have won that Grizzlies game and should have been 2-1 this week. Anyway, let's talk about the players off the bench. Doug McDermott. All right, they had a good week. While he shot better from beyond the arc, he still is scoring for us. And, one thing I don't mention enough from him, his movement without the ball, making defenders chase him. Even if he's not making the shot, he's making the defense work. And that's something Doug does very well, just constantly, being a man in motion. So a good week for him. Josh Richardson, I thought this was kind of a good and bad week. He's clearly not supposed to be our backup point guard, and I think he's struggling in that position. Yes, he did score. He was a top scorer off the bench this week, so I think that's a good part of his week. But the turnovers, 3.3 turnovers in only 24 minutes is just not going to cut it. And I thought some of his decision-making was maybe not the best this week. So I had kind of a mixed week for Josh Richardson. As soon as we get Blake Wesley back, I'm pretty sure he'll go back to his natural spot, backup shooting guard, and I think he'll produce more at that spot. Up next, The man we talked about at the very start, that is, wow, he's blowing me away. Charles Bassey, when we signed him, I was like, all right, he's going to be buried on the depth chart. You know, you got Jakob at center, then you got Zach Collins, then Gorgie Zhang. Maybe Charles Bassey will get a minute or two. Well, Charles Bassey in limited action has looked fantastic. He was our top rebounder this week and averaged only 16.6 minutes a game. He grabbed 9.3 boards a game while also showing he's a much better passer than his scouting report said, getting some steals and being a fantastic shot blocker. Really, the only really knock I have on him is the fouls. He averaged about 4 fouls a game this week, so he's not going to get a lot of minutes if he's in foul trouble. Four fouls a game in only 17 minutes ain't going to cut it. But overall, I like what I'm seeing. He's not the most explosive guy. He's not a guy I think that's just going to stand at the rim and launch it up for a huge thunder dunk of justice. I feel like he needs to get a little running momentum before he dunks. But his positioning, he's not an explosive athlete, at least in my eyeball test, but his positioning and just knowing where to be, he might be our backup center for the future. Maybe if he keeps producing, getting better, he will be our center of the future. And you never know. He can shoot the three. Something Yacht can't do. So time will tell. Romeo Langford playing backup shooting guard this week. I was kind of mixed on Romeo this week. Kind of good, bad. There were times where he made some great plays. He had a huge offensive putback dunk. Was it last night or against the Timberwolves? I think it was against the Timberwolves. But then there's other times where I thought he was hesitant to shoot and kind of just deferring. I had a mixed week on Romeo Langford. I think once we get Blake Wesley back, he is he's going to lose his minutes. Zach Collins out with a fractured fibula, 2 to 4 weeks. I think it's a fibula, tibia or fibula. It's one of those, and that concerns me. Zach Collins has had a lot of ankle issues, and if Charles Bassey keeps playing like this, he's not. He's going to be the third man when it comes to center, unless Pop puts him at power forward, which he could if we need size against a team like the Timberwolves. Like they have 2 big men out there. By the way, wow, they're struggling this year. Anyway, moving right on. KVD only played 14 minutes this week, 1 of 5 from field goals total. Only played a minute and a half last night. Looks like he's losing minutes. Maybe Pop just experimenting with Romeo right now. KD's one of those guys, though, where he'll have a week or two where he doesn't really play much, and then all of a sudden he's getting 20 minutes again. So he just might be, Pop testing out the rotations. Isaiah Roby, like 2 games, total of 4 minutes, and his one stat was 1 personal foul. I really had high expectations for him coming over to the Spurs. I was like, man, this is a good sign in getting him off waivers. This dude's going to be good with us. He is not gelling with this team at all at the moment. I don't know what's going on. It's not working right now. So hopefully they figure it out. If he's going to get only 2 minutes a game, though, then I would look to trade him. Gorgie Zhang did not play 1 minute this week, and he's not going to play any time if Charles Bassey keeps playing like this. Sorry, Gorgie. So he could maybe be a player that looks to be traded by the trade deadline. Malachi Branham out in G League. I think he's going to be there until either Josh Richardson or Doug McDermott get traded. I thoroughly expect one of those to get traded before the All-Star break. And then Blake Wesley, I'm talking about him already, out with the MCL. He'll take Romeo's minutes when he's back. Our plays of the week. My runner-up play of the week. Fast break, Trey Jones, beautiful alley-oop, and then Jeremy Sohan with the Udall miss with the Sohan thunder dunk of justice. Man, this kid is such a good lob threat. I love it, and a great pass by Trey Jones. But my play of the week, and this is a long play of the week, where it's going to start off with a defensive stop and then a fast break, but it's all one continuous play, in my opinion. So let's just get into my play of the week. Jeremy Sohan again coming up, great defense. Effort, dives for the ball, gets it Jakob. Trey Jones then with the alley-oop to Devin Sell for the finish, and that's just from start to finish. We have a defensive stop, we have hustle, we have passing, we have an alley-oop, we have a finish on the fast break. I thought this was from start to finish. That was great. Jeremy Sohan making his appearance in 2 plays of the week this week. Can he make a player of the week? Well, no. No, he will not. And I really struggled with my player of the week. My runner-up player of the week is going to be Kelvin. And Kelvin would have been my player of the week. However, he really had a rough game versus the Grizzlies, missed some costly free throws, and had a lot of turnovers this week. So that kind of kept him out of the player of the week. Don't get me wrong. He still had a great week. And, I think when it comes to the All-Star game, he should seriously be considered for consideration if he keeps playing like this. That being said, my player of the week is Turtle Power. I liked what I saw from Jakob this week, playing some strong defense here and there, scoring, passing. He did a little bit of everything. And it's weeks like this where I'm like, minus the free throw shooting, gosh, maybe Jakob Poeltl can be our center for the next 5 years. And then I'll have a week like last week where I'm like, maybe he's not the guy still. I don't know. I thought it was a good week by Jakob. He had 9 assists versus the Denver Nuggets, so he's a fantastic passer, averaging 5.3 assists a game, giving us some D. Fantastic on the pick and roll. The limitations with the free throw shooting and spacing with him on the floor, as he's not going to generally score anywhere outside the paint. Is he? I'm going to ask you, Spurs fans, is he the guy, or is he one of the positions we need to move on from? I feel very confident right now saying the 2, 3, and 4 are set. And I talk about this a lot. I feel like Devin, Kelman, and Jeremy, I think that those are the guys, barring something weird happening for the next decade. I feel like there's enough there. I see potential between those three, but Jakob's generally a little bit of a question mark, and then Trey Jones right now for me is the question mark too. Time will tell. Hope I'm wrong about whoever I say might not be the guy, and they prove me wrong. They find a way to win. I mean, the Utah Jazz traded away Devin Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and now are the number one team in the Western Conference at 10-3, I think, last I checked. They were supposed to be on the bottom of the league with us, and their young guys are turning out. So maybe our guys will as soon as we cut down on the turnovers. Anyway, up next, the San Antonio Spurs. It's going to be a rough week for me personally, as every game, I believe, starts at 10 o'clock on the East Coast. So I'm going to be up late. We got the Golden State Warriors, the Portland Trailblazers, who are much better than I thought they'd be this year at this point. The Sacramento Kings, who are coming off a win versus the Los Angeles Lakers last night, who are just absolutely falling apart right now. And then we finish out the week with the Clippers. My plan is to call the Warriors game, which is Monday, the Blazers game on Tuesday. I'm going to take the Kings game off because I don't want to call 4 games next week. I just want to do 3. And then I'll finish up with the Clippers. That is, I think, actually a 10:30 game on Saturday night. Should be an interesting week. I think we can go 2-2. I don't know what to make of the Warriors right now. They're falling apart. I haven't followed them. Maybe we can sneak a win out of there. The Blazers game probably gonna be a tough one. We should lose that based on just records alone. Do you think we can win the Kings game? And the Clippers one's a toss up. So I think we'll probably go 2-2, but maybe we could sneak a 3-1 in there and get back up to actually we go 3-1 would be over 500, right? 9-8, yeah, I'd be okay with that. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, and as always, go Spurs, go!